All right, week 6 college football breakdown here. Nice little Big 12 matchup. We got Texas Tech, the Red Raiders, their second straight road game here, traveling to Stillwater to take on Oklahoma State. Cowboys at home, coming off that big win against Baylor. 9.5-point favorites, pretty high total at 68.5. Right off the bat, a lot of people might be running to the window to, bet Oklahoma State at a single-digit number. I'm not. And typically second straight road game is not a spot where I love betting teams, and I'm not going to bet Texas Tech here. This is not a game I'm going to have a play in, but Texas Tech throughout the second half of last week against Kansas State, they started to get their passing game going a little bit all year. And as a Texas fan, I know this. They're going to beat you offensively by 1,000 paper cuts. They don't take a lot of shots. Donovan Smith, just that air raid system, they get the ball out quick, a lot of short passes, but that accumulates over time. It's hard to really put a lot of points up that way. You just got to be really precise, and it's hard to sustain those long drives. By nature of being down last week pretty heavily at Kansas State, Donovan Smith started to make some throws, and he's a really talented quarterback. He struggled with picks this year, and he is very inconsistent, but he can also make all the throws. In theory, this is a spot where I do think Texas Tech, if they get a little bit more aggressive within their passing game, I think they can have success against this Oklahoma State secondary. I haven't been impressed with that aspect of the Cowboys this year. Remember week 1, Central Michigan really put a hurt on that Oklahoma State secondary, put up 44 points in that game. And you can say, half of that came in the fourth quarter. It still came. 44 points. Central Michigan put up 44 points on you. That's cause for concern. I don't think a team like Arizona State is built to put up a lot of points, but I even like the way Emory Jones moved the ball through the air in that game. Blake Shapen last week, 40 attempts, 345 yards. He threw 2 key interceptions that really kind of played Baylor out of that game. And I think both those came in the fourth quarter as well. This Oklahoma State secondary can be had. So Tech is going to throw the ball a lot. And this is a matchup where I think they could have success doing so. Oklahoma State's one of these teams offensively that it's really hard to get a great read on them. It seems like Mike Gundy over the years has actually gotten a little bit more conservative. For instance, we saw Oklahoma State last year, given how good their defense was, they became much more of a run-first team. This year, they're throwing the ball a little bit more because their defense is not as good as it was last year. Spencer Sanders is a guy that is very up and down. He's much like Donovan Smith. I think he's got a lot of talent. I think he has the ability to make all the throws. I will say this. I think his numbers are a little bit inflated this year, given that they played Central Michigan and Arkansas Pine Bluff. He played great in both of those games. Only 7.1 yards per attempt against Arizona State and only 6.2 yards per attempt last week against Baylor. So, Texas Tech's defense is better than people think. Didn't look great last week against Kansas State. Kansas State was able to kind of, create some explosive plays in the second half via Deuce Vaughn. Adrian Martinez had a chunk run. I don't know how repeatable that would be. I actually kind of like this Tech defense. I think they can hold up against the run pretty well. I think Oklahoma State's run game is solid, but it's not so solid where I think they're going to have their way necessarily in this matchup. If you're putting the game in Spencer Sanders' hands, buckle up. It's going to be a bumpy ride. He's going to make some throws. He's probably going to turn the ball over a few times as well. Ultimately, I don't really know what to do with this game. Two really kind of boomer bust quarterbacks. Maybe they're both on. Maybe both of them turn the ball over 2 or 3 times. This is kind of a lower scoring game. Ultimately, though, I do think Oklahoma State can be had in this matchup. And, seeing what I saw watching the second half of that Texas Tech game last week, I wouldn't be surprised if Texas Tech comes out and takes some shots and really tries to attack this Oklahoma State secondary. Ultimately, no play. Don't be surprised if Texas Tech keeps this game close. All right, guys, before we get out of here, I know you see the shirt right here, going with the Miami Vice theme today. If you're looking for some new golf apparel, head over to proud90.com. Unique but very comfortable polos. It's colder weather coming. They've also got hoodies and quarter zips as well. Proud 90's got all your golf apparel needs, so browse their selection. If you see anything you like at checkout, use code Fordham. It's going to get you 15% off your order. That's code Fordham at proud90.com is going to get you 15% off your order. Support me, support Proud 90. The rest of the information will be in the description below.